If God's people work in God's world, then we really can change things.
The Nashville Epiphany Project, we call it NEP, it's hosted out of 2nd Presbyterian Church in Nashville, Tennessee, is one of 9 national sites, and there are also 9 international sites of the Young Adult Volunteer Program of the Presbyterian Church, U.S.A.
The Young Adult Volunteer Program, or more commonly known as the YAV program.
I grew up in the Presbyterian Church and thought that it would be a great way to do a little bit of service after I graduated from college.
Young adults who serve in the Young Adult Volunteer Program come from lots of different backgrounds.
And some people feel a vision, they feel a call, but they're not exactly sure what that might look like in the real world.
Many people think that we're all going to be, that we're all future ministers and we're all going to be professional church workers in some way, but that's really not the case.
This year we have people who majored in political science, in Spanish, in psychology, and in mechanical engineering.
We come from a diversity of experiences,
but what we all have in common is the desire to spend some time learning about ourselves and how we want to serve in the world.
College students, people who have just left college, it targets the 19 through 30 age group and gives them a chance either nationally or internationally to serve in a community of need.
We're all energetic and hopeful about the future, and we're able to put that into practice every day for a year.
People who are just actively seeking God. People who don't have it all figured out, who don't necessarily know what they want to do, who are just know that they love to serve people.
Nashville, the NEP site, appealed to me mainly because it's one of the few programs that's actually attached to a church.
2nd Presbyterian is really a unique church.
2nd Pres is an incredible congregation. I found them incredibly warm and inviting.
It's a church that really has a prophetic voice on issues of social justice and mission.
So it was just, again, very powerful for me to see a congregation that was really concerned about living out their faith in the community in ways that promote social justice.
It's just so awesome to have a church that really cares about you and will do anything for you, and they really look to you as a leader and a role model in how they can reach out to the community at large and serve God's people.
Moving to a new city is kind of scary.
It's just so important to me to have that church family.
We don't know anybody, no family, and they become your family really fast.
They enjoy us just as much as we enjoy being here.
One of the other great selling points of NEP is Nashville.
Many people just know Nashville as the country music capital, but there's a lot more to it than that.
It's a very metropolitan city. There's a lot going on here, be it music or theater or sports, or we have wonderful park systems.
Even though Nashville's a big city and there's lots of stuff to do and there's great music and there's all this fun stuff, it's also a very small town.
It's a very welcoming community and a great city to live in that has a lot of opportunities.
You see the same people at the grocery store, at the gym, the people from church you're going to run into in a business setting, and it's comforting that way, and it's very connected, and it just added to my work and life so much.
They come to Nashville and live in an intentional Christian community.
The 4 of us who are serving as Nashville Epiphany Project volunteers this year all live together in a tiny little house just outside the church.
It's called the Tool Shed.
I was a member of the group that named or deemed the Tool Shed the Tool Shed.
A little house with 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, has a little living room and an eating area and just a little kitchen, and it's just the right size for the 4 of us.
It's a small space, but it's kind of similar to the space possibly the individuals they're serving live in.
Actually, it's a really great house, and the smallness of it bonded us together.
We laugh about how small it is, but really it's a good thing because it allows us to spend a lot of time together.
We really open up ourselves and share with each other the high points and the low points, the good and bad experiences that we've had, and really where we've seen God in our days.
We all went through that together. I don't know what I would have done without my roommates. And we just had fun too. It was great.
It's just an incredibly supportive experience to be able to have them there.
We've really kind of become the best of friends over the last several months, and we have a good time just laughing and sharing about what's happened in our day, and just getting to know each other at a deeper level.
Coming right out of college, you're still going through a lot of that young adult formative stuff, and you need to be around people that are going through the same things and figuring out what your adult life is going to look like.
Nashville has a very unique component of vocational discernment, and I know coming out of undergrad, I needed that year.
To explore what I want to do and what God's calling me to do.
Young adults who are interested in discerning that call, who are wanting to match their spiritual gifts with a vocation.
The vocational discernment process is actually more than just answering the question, what do I want to do when I grow up? But it's actually shown me a deeper way of thinking about what calling is.
Ministry isn't only confined to the walls of a church.
It helped to kind of cement for me the struggle that was going on, of how I want to live and work in the world and how I want to put my faith into action. And not in like an abstract kind of way, but really this is how I want to experience God, is through service.
Agencies that we choose to partner with are ones that are focused on social justice and systemic change. They're not interested in the Band-Aid fix, but those that are long-term, solving the problem.
This year I'm working with Preston Taylor Ministries, and they serve the Preston Taylor public housing area on the west side of Nashville.
I worked for a program that does free tax preparation for low-income families.
This year I'm serving at Conexión Américas, which is a nonprofit organization which helps promote the integration of Latino families into Middle Tennessee.
The Campus for Human Development, we work with Nashville's homeless population.
Last year I served at the Martha O'Brien Center, which is a full-service resource center in the middle of Nashville's oldest and largest public housing development.
They get to see very up close what these marginalized individuals have to experience.
We serve kindergarten through 8th graders, and almost all of them are behind in their reading and other academic skills. We want to help them reach their God-inspired dreams by bringing up their education and showing them that it's important.
I specifically work with a job connection website and a conversation program. It's called Conversemos, and it's a language exchange which pairs English speakers with Spanish speakers.
We offer people a way to fulfill their basic needs, whether that's a ride to a doctor's appointment or a bus pass to get to a job interview. Another important thing that we do is just to offer hospitality and love in the midst of a setting that often is violent and is often without any kind of a loving presence.
At the Martha O'Brien Center, I work with the adults in the GED class, and I also work with the youth in an after-school program. I work mostly with 2nd through 4th graders, and the longer that I've worked with them, the more I've realized just how important it is to provide a nurturing and positive environment for them to work and play.
I had many opportunities to talk to youth and adults and senior citizens and learn what it's like to live in poverty, what it's like to have your parents work 2 jobs, things like that. And so I really was able to see a new face of poverty, and I knew it wasn't the face that's being portrayed.
The first week I was with Community Impact. I went on a reality tour. It was something they always do with newcomers, and they get in the van, they drive you around East Nashville, and they tell you about like the income divide on Shelby Avenue, the projects on one side and the historic homes on the other. One of the girls that I would eventually become very close with was sitting behind me, 16 at the time, and she says, "Oh, that's the stoop where I've seen 3 friends murdered. And that's the alley where I was raped when I was 14. And I just remember like turning back and looking at her and wanting to hug her, but also recognizing, more so looking back, of how strong she was in that moment and how she was using that experience to better her community and to move forward and help other people not have to go through that ever again.
Every day I see scenes that I wouldn't have imagined that I would see in my life. I see people who are just dumped by hospitals, people who have nowhere to sleep and sleep in parking lots. And I see a world that is very violent and filled with fear and mistrust toward others. It's a world that is scary at many levels, and I will always take with me a sense of knowing that those people exist, and that our Christian calling is to take care of them and to do what we can to bring about God's kingdom on earth.
It's hard to think of all the ways that the Young Adult Volunteer Program has shaped me and how my experiences here in Nashville have helped me grow spiritually and really recognize the presence of God in our world. And it's not a cop-out, but the more I think about how I've been changed, just the bigger the answer gets. It really is one of the best things that Presbyterian Church has going for it, and more people need to be involved in this program to help and serve God's people.
Even though there are a lot of things in the world which happen and which we may or may not agree with, and which can seem unfair, that there is always hope, and that if God's people work in God's world, then we really can change things.